Game time decisions, part 2. Ohio State plays Grambling on Saturday at 3:30 inside the shoe. The 1-0, number 1 in the country, Ohio State Buckeyes, as they continue on with their non-conference schedule. I'm Steven, that's Stefan, and that's Andrew. And as we do every single week, these are the things we want to see that will decide the game. They're not going to decide the game this week, but they could help decide Ohio State's season long term as they continue to work on things. Andrew, I'm going to start with you this time. What do you want to see from the Buckeyes on Saturday? Today, actually, because people are watching this on Saturday. Don't worry about where we're at. We'll be over there in a little bit.
Or over there, actually, behind us. Not that way. If we're over by that way, we're nowhere. We're in the wrong spot.
I mean, at some point we'll be over there because we got to drive, and that's the way we got to take. I don't know, man. What do you want to see?
One thing that I'm really interested in is I think this kind of went under the radar a little bit on Saturday is the run game. You know, everybody talked about Ohio State, running the ball and say, oh, well, now they're going to open it up. But it's easy to kind of look past the fact that C.J. Donaldson got 19 carries and he averaged 3.5 yards a carry, and James Peoples got 10 carries and he had 2 yards a carry. That's not good enough. Like, I understand it was Texas. I understand it was one of the best teams in the country. I understand it was one of the best defensive lines in the country. I understand all of that. But Ohio State does need to get that going. I've said this before. One of the things that made last year's national championship team so special was not just that you had freakazoids at the receiver position. It was that you countered that with 2,000-yard rushers who went in the top 40 of the NFL draft. I'm not saying that has to be the standard that Ohio State lives up to this year, especially with James Peoples, who's coming into a role for the first time in his career, C.J. Donaldson, who took the step up from West Virginia. But you have to average more than 3.5 and 2 yards a carry with your number 1 and 2 running backs. So I want to see what they do to kind of get that going, right? For as much as we talk about Julian Sand and all this other stuff about throwing the ball, this to me is an interesting part of what's going to help define this season. So how Ohio State adds on to their running game, what kind of looks they show in their running game, that is something I'm keeping an eye on because it might not matter Saturday, might not matter the following Saturday. Super won't matter the next Saturday when they have a bye week. But as you get into October, the running game is going to need to be there for them at some point.
It's the dedication to not allowing this team to be what it is for you. It's you're going to run the ball. That's what he wants from this team, to run the ball. Even though we just watched them throw it to win a national title, he wants to see the running game. I do too. Sure, they did. They also had 2,000-yard receivers. So we talk. That's not the thing we're talking. What are you talking about? They also played 16 football games. Neither one of them had 1,000 yards at the end of the year. Stefan, what do you want to see?
Yeah, I'm glad you guys have observed that Ohio State statistically was a really good team last year. I'm glad we got that established. And
who would have thought?
Who could have ever predicted that? I spent a lot of time Thursday going back and forth with our texters a little bit, asking them kind of what they wanted to see from this game. So join those conversations, 614-350-3315. Thank you. And one thing that a few of our texters had mentioned was, wanted to see what C.J. Hicks does with Kenyatta Jackson, maybe playing, maybe not playing. I would have to imagine even if he does play, it's not going to be a ton of snaps. I don't think the starters, particularly on defense, are going to get a ton of snaps in this game. So there's going to be opportunities for C.J. Hicks, regardless of Kenyatta's status, to get some more snaps and probably play more than the 19 snaps we saw against Texas. And I think that's a good opportunity for him. I think one thing we forget with C.J. is we've all wanted him to move to this defensive end role because that makes more sense. That's still a new position for him. He hasn't been playing it. So in the same way that last year, Sonny Styles was moving from safety to linebacker. That's still a transition to where we say, wow, Sonny was really good. How does he take a step forward this year after being so good last year? I don't know. He gets more comfortable playing a role that he hadn't played before last season. I think CJ is kind of adapting to that as well. There's going to be highs and lows. We see him all the time after practice here, working with Matt Patricia on technique and other things like that. Like C.J. Hicks is still growing in this role, and I think as many reps as possible is a good thing for him, and I think this is a great opportunity to get him out there. I'm sure he'll probably get a sack or two. This could be a nice stat padding game for him as well. But just getting reps and kind of working through the technique of what it takes to be successful at that position, I think that's a guy that I'm going to be watching a lot on today, as you're listening.
Andrew doesn't want to see C.J. Hicks. He's hated on C.J. Hicks. I guess I'll talk about the quarterbacks. This is also going to play into what my outrageous prediction is going to be. I want to see, at minimum, 8 deep shots. Remember when we were having all those conversations about Will Howard and the deep ball last year? I don't think we're going to be having those conversations about Julian Sand this year, but, he did underthrow the deep ball to Cardinal Tate, but at least he underthrew it in a way where Cardinal Tate could make a play on the ball. So I just push it, push it. And when you're done pushing it, push it a little bit further. I just want to see it because that's got to be a part of this offense this year, the downfield vertical passing game. I expect we're going to see the middle of the field stuff, the short stuff. I think we're going to see all that. But I just want to see right now, week 2, where Julian Sand is when it comes to the downfield passing aspect of this, his ability to take the top off the defense, because JJ gets open deep. Carnell can get open deep. Brenton Ennis can get open deep, even if he dropped a slot fade. I think it's there, but I just want to see it, and I think this is the type of game where you can test those things out, even if you're sacrificing completion percentage. Maybe he only completes 64% of his passes, but that's because they're taking deep shots a lot more often. That's what I want to see, because it's the evolution of Julian Sand and what this offense is going to look like with him at quarterback, and that is a vital part of why. Third and Jeremiah, the last throw Will Howard ever threw as a Buckeye was a deep ball to Jeremiah Smith. So it's going to have to be a part of what they do, and this is a good week to work on that. Those are our game time decisions, and that is it. We're done talking ball. We're going to go watch some ball. Over there, apparently, I don't have a sense of direction, man. I just go wherever the apple tells me to go. And once I'm there, I sit down and I watch the game. And I'll be texting 614-350-3315, and they'll be texting. It's a 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. I'm Steven, that's Stefan, that's Andrew. Those are our game time decisions. Ohio State Grambling on Saturday. Big Ten Network, 3:30. See you there.